What's going on, guys? Chris May, Jack Ryan back with you for another episode of the Blue Jay Way pod. And yeah, today I think we're just gonna kind of go over quite a bit's gone on since our last episode, first one of the year.
hmm
So we've got some stuff to talk about now that's gone on in spring training. So we're kind of just gonna touch on that and just inch closer to the season here. We're about a week away. So we're gonna try and set this up, give some observations from the spring, and yeah, it looks like Jack's ready to get down there
Oh,
and
I'm ready, buddy.
take some hacks.
I
Um,
just got pine tar in my mouth.
Ew, can't imagine that'd be nice at all.
That
Um,
tastes good.
so funny enough, as we were getting ready to record this here, the Jays actually made a move. They made a transaction that I think a lot of Jays fans were probably looking for. Obviously, this team had a lot of infielders, Jack.
Yeah.
Probably too many to have, on an opening day roster. It wouldn't even make sense. It's just too many guys. So they got rid of them. They got rid of one. They got rid of a tenured guy, a guy that's been
Yep.
around for a long time. It seemed like a favorite in the locker room. A valiant soldier, Santiago Espinal out the door. Uh, valiant soldier. Did a fine job,
Yep.
I would say.
I mean, 2021 All-Star
Why
with
don't
the
we talk a
Jays.
bit about him? Why don't we talk a bit
Yeah.
about him and how we
Eh,
feel? Um, to me, Jack, he's more than serviceable, but to me, he's up there at the plate and he's not making me excited. I won't lie.
no, no
He'll run into one every now and then. He's had good stretches at the plate.
yep.
But most of the time, he's not a threat to hit one out. He's not really an extra base threat.
No.
Um, and
He
that's kind of where I stand on it. If you
yeah.
got Davis Schneider coming to the plate, um, at least he's a consistent threat to do some serious damage.
Yeah,
And
100%.
Espinal didn't really feel like he was that. But he did a valiant job filled in at third base. He used to be really good in the field. It seems like that had kind of tailed off a bit, especially last season. He kind of lost that, all right, we can throw him out in the field, have no issues at all, uh,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Even when Bo Bichette went down last year, I thought it was telling that they didn't feel comfortable just saying, all right, we have the replacement here in Espinal.
Yeah.
We have to go out and trade for somebody.
And they got Paul
Well,
DeYoung.
yeah, but like that was I think kind of why they did that is like we don't want Espinal starting every day. Um, so hey, I think change of scenery will do him well. I'm not that upset to see him leave. I think it was just a numbers thing. They had too many guys, and I think they felt that they knew what he was, and they knew that it was okay to let him go. I'm okay with it. I don't know much
Mhm.
about this pitcher who's pitched in A ball.
Yeah.
I don't know much about him. He was drafted in the 23rd round.
Yeah,
Not a high pick.
he's your
Or
namesake.
sorry, eighth round.
Eighth round.
Eighth round. He's 23.
23.
2022 draft from Vanderbilt, which is a good baseball program.
Another guy the Jays
Probably going to
drafted
be
from.
A-ball this year. We'll see. But, young arm for
Yep.
Espinal. I'm not upset. I just think it just frees up some roster room. It was such a log jam. And,
Yeah.
hopefully Espinal can break through with the Reds and have a good season. He was an all-star. He had a great first half that one year.
Yep.
And, I think he could benefit from some more playing time, and the Jays could probably benefit from not having as much to think about in terms of who to give playing time to. So, yeah,
Yeah. I mean, like, you look at the amount of infielders that the Jays had going into spring training this year. Eduardo Escobar, they signed Justin Turner, who can still play third base. Maybe not as much of a plus defender as he used to be, but you got him, Kevin Biggio, Davis Schneider, like you mentioned,
IKF.
IKF, who they signed to a 2-year contract. And then the guy that we're going to talk a lot more about in the coming minutes is Ernie Clement, who's been absolutely lighting it up at the plate in spring
And
training.
you've got other infielders in AAA, Spencer
Yeah.
Horowitz, Addison Barger. Like you guys got that are probably going to be on the team in the next 2 years, and Espinal, like it's even
Elvis
more of a
Martinez, another guy. Like
exactly.
there's
It's
there's a
even more
lot
of
of
a
guys.
it's more of a pardon my language, bleep show when those guys start getting to the point where they need major league
Service
playing.
time. You need
So
service time, and like, and
yeah,
then not on
at
top.
bats, reps really like
Yeah, and also like you mentioned across the infield, like realistically, Biggio is going to probably be platooning with IKF at third, so that takes that away from the equation. Turner's likely going to be the everyday DH. It's still up in the air about who's going to be the righty DH as far, or the lefty
well, we'll
bat
have to
DH
get into
against
this. We
righties.
haven't even gotten into it yet, but
No,
we'll
I
have to.
know.
That's a big topic of
I
discussion.
know. But I want to give, while we're on the topic, real quick, I want to give Santiago Espinal his flowers. You know, he was an All-Star in 2021. I remember I was at the game on my birthday when they came back to the Rogers Center after COVID in 21, and Espinal made
Barehanded.
the barehanded final out. Yeah,
Yeah,
that holds a
that
special
was his
place.
moment. I think that was
Yeah,
his Blue Jays moment. And
yeah,
it was a great
exactly.
play. It was a
And
great play. So
yeah, and
yeah,
to go to a young team like the Reds who are in a rebuild, like they didn't bring back Votto because they have guys like Spencer Steer.
they're on the tail end of a rebuild. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
ready to.
they in the next 4 years or
Yeah, they're
even
ready
two
to be
years.
serious again. I think.
Yeah, so getting a guy like that who can be arguably a bench bat or a starting, second base, shortstop, whatever position they have
Yeah,
planned for him is a good thing for both teams. The Jays get a young pitcher in return. So I don't hate the trade. Like you said, it was a log jam in the middle
it
infield.
needed to happen.
It needed to
And
happen.
if anyone, I think to be moved just based on age and how much they've seen of the guy, how much they know
Yeah.
what he is,
Yeah.
know
And
what they'd be losing. And I think they
yeah.
were comfortable with it. So I think he was the most likely guy to
Yeah.
do
It's
it. I
better.
didn't know
It's
if they were going
better.
to do it. I didn't
It's
know if they were going to try and clear it up a bit.
no,
I didn't know if they were going to
I,
roll with all these guys, but
yeah.
they're thinking along as us, along
Yeah,
with us being like so
I
many
saw
guys.
the post and I was like, really? Because I was expecting, truthfully, I was expecting Atkins to just either demote one of them to AAA, any of the middle infielders, and then just see if they clear waivers or if they just start the year in AAA. But in all honesty, I'd rather it be Espinal gets traded or any of the guys that were on the block got traded for a piece in return, which I think getting a starting pitcher was the right thing, considering another topic we're going to get into later on is the starting
You never have
pitching.
too many arms. You can never have too many arms.
Exactly.
Never.
So to close the book on Espinal this chapter and then moving forward, SB, thank you for being the guy that you were when we needed you to be, and we wish you all the best.
Yeah, nothing but well wishes. Nothing he ever did wrong, really, ever. He suffered from not playing much. I think that's tough for a guy. He really didn't play
Mhm.
much. So hopefully he can
No.
get some playing time. Okay, moving on. Probably the biggest story that's gone down since we last talked. 40-year-old Joey Votto has, obviously had an option decline with the Reds last season. They
Yep.
they declined to bring him back. Obviously, he is a franchise legend there. He's a legend in that town. Uh,
Arguably the greatest red that's ever put on the
yeah,
uniform.
played there for 20-ish years. Um,
Yeah.
was a staple of that franchise, to be honest. And just his personality kind of makes him even more of a legend there.
Hmm.
Just in the game even too, he's kind of become a legend.
He's a
Um,
cult figure for sure.
and of
Like you
course he's
either,
from yeah, for sure his personality is very unique. Um, and he's from Etobicoke, and the
yep.
Jays and him, I guess, got on the phone, and he's like, guys, I'm super bored, and I guess I still have something. And I think he knows he feels like he's got something left to offer. Um,
100%.
so I'm sure, on hearing that, you got a legend that's, kind of a cult baseball hero and a Canadian baseball favorite.
Hmm.
Reaching out to you, borderline Hall of Famer. I would say Hall of Famer reaching out to you,
Oh,
and the Jays
it,
decided to go with it, and I'm glad they did,
yeah.
because it did kind of inject some life into the fan base. I would say
Oh yeah.
it get people excited because you know he's 40 years old. He's not going to be MVP Joey Votto,
Not
um,
anymore. No.
but he's still good.
He's
Like
he's still got a bit of pop in that bat, man. We saw that in his first
what
game.
I think the Jays need for some reason. Like he's selective, he's smart hitter, he's situational, he's a lefty.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know why, but he's like, I feel like he has something to offer the lineup.
dude, like
Um,
he is
so I'm
exactly
glad
what
it's happened.
he's
And I'm
exactly
interested.
he's Justin Turner just from the left side of the plate. Guy who's been
Yeah,
around for a long time, knows what it takes to win. I mean,
obviously he's been
Votto
hurt.
doesn't
He's been
have
a
the
little injured, so
yeah.
hopefully he can get healthy and be healthy all year.
Mhm.
Um, because it sounds like to him, just hearing him talk, that held him back a lot the past couple of years. So hopefully that's not an issue or as much of an issue. And man, I mean, it's cool. I think like I don't know. Like I know last year he played like 100-ish games and he had like 20 plus home runs. Um, so he's still got power.
Mhm.
Um, I
He's
think
kind
we're
of
kind of
sat.
burying the lead.
He's refined his swing, so it's hitting for more power than he would used to hit for average and power. So
Yeah.
he said that he was focusing more on hitting for home runs and doubles and for average, which I mean, his career stats having a 290 plus average over the course of 17 of his last 19 years, if he can afford to bat 225 but
Oh,
hit
I don't
like
think
20
he's
home
yeah,
runs.
I don't think he's like torn up about it, but
No,
I take him as like a student of it almost, and I'm sure he's gonna be, meticulously going through everything to try and be the best hitter he can be.
100%.
Whether the body holds up, that's kind of a different story. But I mean, like I said, we're kind of bearing the lead here. We've seen him in in one at bat so far in a Blue Jays uniform in spring training, and he hit a home run.
Yep.
So I mean,
Off of Zach
he's
Wheeler,
hitting,
might I
he's
add.
hitting 1,000 with one home run and one at bat on one pitch
Yeah.
against an elite pitcher
Yeah.
um, in Zach Wheeler, and then he hilariously rolled his ankle in the dugout stepping on a bat. So that's all we've seen of him. I don't even know. Maybe he's just retired now.
No,
They're
no,
like, oh
no.
no, I've done it. I hit a home run. I proved it to myself. No, I think he's still. I don't know, Jack. Why don't I pose you this question? Is he going to make the team opening day?
Chris, if Daniel Vogelbach didn't go deep today, I say yeah, but
Daniel Vogelbach gets a piece of that one and drills it deep to right field. A two-run shot, and the Blue Jays are on the board.
Danny Burgers has been tearing it up in the spring, man.
It's not a terrible problem to have, but
No, it's not,
and I mean,
but
it seems like Votto is open to going to the minors.
my 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 heart says Votto, my head says Vogelbach just because the age discrepancy. Like Vogelbach's 10 years younger, he's power bat, like whatever, come in
Yeah,
as a
he's kind of
pinch
been
hit off the bench.
crushing in
Yeah.
spring.
So, but also like, man, like Votto would help make so much money for ticket sales and jersey sales. Like, yeah, as much as the jerseys are absolute hog wash.
But wouldn't it suck
I'm
to
gonna
watch
try and
him?
keep it explicit or explicit free for
Wouldn't it
this
suck to
episode.
watch him struggle though?
Yeah, it kind of would. Yeah, because it'd be like seeing a shadow of his former self.
Like
But
I don't want it to happen. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but like
no, no,
I don't know if he's
and
like I just don't know if he's ready. Like obviously, I think we'll just have to see, and I just think it's a bit too early maybe to make the call yet because
he
still
could
spring
tear it
training.
up in AAA, man. He could
Yeah,
tear it
no,
up in
no. Like
AAA.
I think honestly it might be good for him to just because he's coming into spring late.
Hmm.
He's hurt now.
Yeah,
Um, it might just we can just get him some more at bats. Like it seems like he's a guy he's not going to be too torn up about going down to AAA.
no.
Um, like
He just
he
wants to
knows,
play.
like
He just
yeah,
wants to play.
he knows that he signed a minor league. Like he's been very open with that and saying that he's
Yeah.
not on the team or anything. So um, I want to see him obviously play for the Jays at some point in
Yeah,
the
and I like
um
that he's doing it's kind of like a redemption tour as far as Canadian baseball service goes for
yeah,
him
yeah,
because
we
if
can
we
touch on that. I don't
yeah.
really remember it too well,
He
or
basically said that he
I
doesn't care about baseball in Canada. This is like 5 to 7 years ago. He was like, I
yeah.
don't care about baseball in Canada. I don't care about like building the game. I just want to like I'm
Well, yeah.
paraphrasing,
I mean,
obviously. It's a long time ago. I read the article briefly when because he made a post saying that how wrong he was and he regrets his comments that he made about it. So you know what? It's come full circle. He's learned from his mistakes and he regrets what he said because he's more than happy he's ecstatic.
Well,
The fact
he
that he's
said
able to
it's a
play for,
dream. He said it's been a dream for him, and you know, I believe that. I mean, if you're really
yeah,
torn up about a comment like that from Joey Votto
have developed some thicker skin a little bit.
after all this time, like Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
You
the
know,
guy's
the
a
guy
legend,
was
man.
the guy was practically like, you know, the guy practically was born and raised in Cincinnati. Like,
Yeah.
let's be real. Like,
Came up at 24
there
and
has
hit
never
a
really been much association with Joey Votto in Canada. It's mostly been Joey Votto in Cincinnati. Like, he has played in the WBC and stuff for Canada, but
that was
um,
way back in what, 2012 or 2011 or something like that.
yeah, like I tell you, growing up, like you and I growing up in Toronto, like we were never like, you know,
No.
thinking of Joey Votto as this great Canadian symbol.
No,
Uh,
he never, that was never his identity.
thought of him as the Great Red.
Yeah,
But
exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
So, you know what?
so
He's here now. I want to see him succeed. I think the rolled ankle thing, well, John Schneider even said he's like it's a day to day
I
to
want to
day
see him in
thing.
the lineup with the number one lineup. I would like to see
Yeah.
how that works. I
Yeah,
would like to see him
because
hitting around those guys.
put him
Um,
behind Vladdy. Vladdy might get better pitches, or like you
yeah,
said, if
I'd like to
Turner
just
needs a
see
day
how it goes.
off. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a down to the wire
Well, what do we
call.
got here? We're March 20th right now. We're 8 days away from opening day. I think
It'll
that
probably
the
be like
last
a
5, 6 games will be regular lineups, and there might interchange a couple DH spots or guys in the field, but it's going to
yeah.
be moving
I mean,
forward for the next
I
week is going
guess
to be
I guess they can construct their roster however they want. I mean, I
yeah.
guess they could technically take both. It doesn't make much sense, but they
I,
could.
who knows, man? One's a bench bat, one's a DH. I mean, we know that Justin Turner is going to be the solidified DH for most of the games this year. That said, having a lefty power bat off the bench to fill in those spots where Turner needs a day off is not a bad thing to have at all. Or if Vladdy needs a day off from first, him and Turner need to take a day off. You got Vogelbach and you got Votto to
Yeah, I
solidify.
mean, Votto can play in the
But
field.
then you got Spencer Horwitz.
I know.
Like he's
It's a mix of the old and the young right now, a little bit.
and he's only 20. What is he? Horowitz is what, 25? Like
Yeah,
they got some young
yeah,
guys in that system, man. So
yeah.
I think Votto needs to prove himself, not just for himself, but also to the team to be like, yeah, we want to keep you on this roster. I mean, they kept Brandon Belt last year. So, but then again, that was a whole other year of service time in the minors for Horowitz. So the time could be now for him, or it could be like, hey, you're going to be our starting third base or first baseman in AAA, solidified. No one's taking that spot from you, and then you're going to work your way up to the majors. If you can take Vogelbach or Votto's spot as
But
that
what if
bench guy,
Votto's
fine.
down there?
Hey, he'll be the
It's
DH.
it's a very interesting situation, dude.
Yeah, we have a lot, like you said, we have a lot of fucking infielders, man. And then the
Yeah,
Espinal trade now makes even more sense when you actually break it down by position.
yeah, they had a ton of
Yeah,
infield.
yeah, yeah.
Probably the one.
So
I think Espinal was
yeah,
the one.
he was the
Like,
odd man out for sure. He was the oldest. It makes sense. I'm pretty sure he would have had to clear waivers if they had decided to send him to AAA. So making a trade makes total sense. Let's get into Chris. More of a, it's unfortunate to say, but more of a negative side of the coin, the opposite side of the coin for the Jays. We got some injuries, and a lot of them, I'd say 75 to 85% of them are on the pitching side, both bullpen and starting rotations. So as of today, Jordan Romano and Eric Swanson are both considered day to day. Romano has elbow discomfort. He received a anti-inflammatory shot into his elbow, and Eric Swanson has forearm tightness or discomfort. So both of them are not throwing. And on top of that, you have Kevin Gausman and Alek Manoah, who are still both injured from the starting rotation. Gausman threw a simulated 2-inning start today with 36 pitches, said that he feels, quote, pretty good. Is there concern or cause for concern regarding the back end, two best back end arms of our bullpen and our ace, and then a fringe 5 starter?
well, I mean, I would say yeah. Like yeah, I would say there's a bit of concern. Yeah, I mean, you never want to stumble out of the gate. I
No.
find in the MLB, you can be out of it so fast.
Yeah.
Um, and like the Jays have a really tough first stretch of the year. They're
Yeah.
on the road, three series on the road. I think it's Astros, Yankees, Rays.
Yeah.
Not in that order, but yeah, those are the 3 teams they play, and, God, like you said it there, like, you lose your 8th and your 9 inning guy.
Yeah.
Like, that's like, that no team is probably gonna feel good about that. Like, then you're just immediately sliding guys into, you know, you're just sliding guys down,
Yeah.
you know, into higher and higher leverage spots that maybe they're not built for, maybe they're not used to, maybe,
Yeah.
that's not ideally where you want them.
And I
Um,
heard Buck saying that, oh, Chad Green can slot up to, because he used to be the closer for the Yankees, right? But dude, this spring he's been getting lit up. Like his ERA is well over 6.5.
yeah, I mean that's exactly what's gonna have to happen though. Guys are gonna have to
Yeah.
step up, plain and simple. Like there's really
Like
no other option. Like there's
taking Chad Green's struggles into account in the spring, who right now is a clear cut closer? Is it Tim Meza? Is it Edward or Cabrera? Is it?
I'm gonna throw my nomination in for Jimmy Garcia.
I agree right now, just because he throws 98, but he's got a 5 pitch mix, and all of his pitches have movement.
Yeah, I just like him. They tried it a bit last year. I don't think he was very good.
Yeah.
But maybe now if he knows it's gonna happen to start the year, it'll be better.
Yeah.
I think he's looked pretty good, and then Meza probably could do it too if you got like 2 lefties coming up
Hmm.
in the ninth. Um, and then yeah, like from there, I mean, they signed a guy. What's his name? Mike Mayers.
Mike Mayers, I
I
think.
think they
Yeah.
signed a guy. That guy. Pretty much immediately as those injuries happened yesterday. I think they signed that guy, so he'll probably be in the mix.
Hmm.
I would think if yeah, he's got some major league experience, and then Yariel Rodriguez. I think I think is going to have to be some sort of a factor,
Mhm.
maybe in the middle innings. Um, so yeah, those guys that we just mentioned there are going to have to step up, plain and simple, really, because
Yeah.
there's no
But
other option. There's nobody else. It's going to have to come from within, and you're going to have to eat those innings and just get out.
well, what is Yariel Rodriguez's role going to be? Do you think? You think he'll be a starter, or do you think he'll be a relief
Well,
guy?
I think right now he's in the pen,
Hmm. I think so too.
just
And
based on what's
just
been happening.
well, like our starting rotation as it stands right now, with Gosman and Manoah injured, Gosman clear cut ace. There's no disparity, or there's no, like we're all on the same page regarding him. Manoah, he's still fighting for that fifth spot, at least in my opinion. I'm sure in yours it's very, very close to
Yeah,
the
but
same
now
thing.
it's almost guaranteed he's going to start in AAA.
Yeah, exactly, because he hasn't thrown since
So he's
his
going to
first
have to
outing.
prove it. He's going to have to now go to AAA because everyone was saying like he's going to have to prove it in the spring, but
Yeah.
now he's hurt. So now he's going to have to prove it in AAA at the start of the year. So
Yeah, I was talking to a friend about this. He was like, "Why don't we just do what we with Manoah, what we did with Roy Halladay?" Because Halladay came up as a 23-year-old, struggled mightily in the majors. We sent him down for 1 or 2 seasons, and then he came back and he was a totally different pitcher, and he was arguably the best pitcher in the AL East when he came
mhm.
back up. So I know Manoah's a little bit older than that, but at the same time, and we both know this. We've been watching him for long enough. He has a bit of a chip on his shoulder when it comes to not performing at his best. But in my opinion, he's got to throw that out the window and work on rebuilding his ability to stay in the game, especially with the pitch clock and how the game is completely transformed now. It's
Mhm.
much more fast paced compared to when he came up. So I believe if he can overcome that discrepancy, or that uh like hiccup or hurdle, then he can be effective again. That
Yeah,
said, he has to be willing to put in the time at AAA to become what he used to be, what he was, what we know he can be. So, like you said, I think
yeah.
he
I mean,
starts
we
at
know it's in
AAA.
there.
Yeah, we know
He's just got to put in
the time.
the required time and effort and
Yeah. So
get
as it
on a plan
stands,
and get back to a point where he feels good mentally as well. And
yep.
yeah, I mean,
I have all the faith in the
probably
world in
a
him. It's just
multitude of things going on
yeah. So as it stands
right
now,
now.
we got Jose Barrios. This our starting rotation right now is Jose
Yeah.
Barrios, Chris Bassett, Yusei Kikuchi, Bowden Francis, Mitch White, at least in my opinion. And Jose Barrios was named the opening day starter for Toronto. That's huge considering what? That's the second time he's been named the opening day starter. Right? The first
Yeah,
time didn't
nobody
go
bring
so
up what
well.
happened last time.
Yeah, no.
Nobody bring
20,
it up. Don't worry.
21 against the
No, it's
Rangers.
the first time.
Yeah,
Last
it's the first
time,
time.
nah, didn't even
Hmm.
happen.
I don't know.
Well,
Eight
hopefully
runs.
it goes better. It can only go better,
It can
really.
only go better. Exactly.
It
It's
can't
all.
can't be
Yeah.
worse,
And he's been
really.
filthy. He's been filthy all spring. So
Yeah, like
much
he is
deserved.
actually filthy. Like give him a lot of props for last year
Yeah.
and
La Maquina, man. Like you can only
and
keep him down for
bouncing
so
back.
long.
Yeah, he's filthy.
Yeah. So
And give him the
I'm
start because you pulled him in the playoffs too.
yeah, exactly. It's kind of a penance thing. So the first three are
Bassett, man,
solidified.
I think Bassett would have been in the conversation.
Could
I
have
mean,
been
that
in the
guy's
running.
filthy,
Yeah.
man. That guy is filthy. That
Yeah.
guy.
I mean, if you throw
That guy's
seven
a
pitches,
wizard, man. I
yeah,
love Bassett. He's a wizard.
yeah, he's a student of the game for sure.
Very.
I heard Buck mention on the broadcast. He's like, Chris always was very aware that he wasn't a power pitcher, so he had to learn how to for finesse, like
Trick people.
curve balls, cutters,
60-mile-an-hour
sliders.
curveball, rainbow curve.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
he's a student of the game, and he's able to keep his arm and his elbow like intact and everything. So
But yeah, if Gossman misses more than the one start, I'll be worried.
yeah, yeah, I think he'll be back
If they have
by
four of the five cooking,
yeah, and
that's fine.
we got to give
But
our props to Bowden Francis. That guy's been unbelievable.
if they have four of the five and then Bowden Francis cooking, then that's
Yeah. But then it's the
scary.
same thing. What happens with Mitch White? Because he has no more options. So do you send him down or
Maybe long relief. He can throw some. He's getting up to some velocity now.
I would take him over Nate Pearson right now. I'll tell you that.
Well, maybe that's
100%.
what they're gonna have to look at
100%.
when
Yeah.
everyone's healthy. I know it's gonna be a bit of a patchwork operation probably for the first little bit now
Yeah.
with just injuries.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be pretty. I don't think right out of the gate. There might be a blown game in there.
I mean, you know what? If
This
they
might be
gotta
the way it is.
take the time to figure it out and wait for Gosman to get back to form, or
It's not like panic stations. Like it's not like any season enders or anything like that. But
yeah,
it's just not ideal. You're just not lined up how you'd want to be ideally.
no, things could be better, but the
So
reality
it
we
might cost
face, yeah, the reality we face is that both Manoah and Gosman are not going to be ready for opening day.
and you got no light games early in the
No,
first road trip. So
no,
it's gonna be a grind.
Jays,
They're gonna have to be on their absolute best behavior. They're gonna have to be at the top of their game that first road trip.
yeah, the base running's got to tighten
They
up
better
really
come
quick.
out. They better come out hot.
Yeah,
But why don't we move on then? So we got the negatives and the pitching staff
done,
away.
over with, gone.
But I'll tell you what, this team had its downfalls at the plate last year, without a doubt. But this spring training, they're cranking the ball. The top five in the lineup have been really good. Guys that weren't very good last year are looking really good.
Mm-hmm.
Guys are coming out of absolutely nowhere,
Yeah,
essentially winning jobs because they're
yep,
just hitting so well. The Jays in spring training are hitting well,
yep.
and I think that's can only be a positive. I think, I think that can only be. I think that really, people might be like, "Oh, it's spring training, doesn't matter." Why? Why
Oh,
doesn't it matter?
well,
It
that's
doesn't matter in
yeah.
terms of record, but this is what you're working for. You're working to have good at bat, score a lot of runs.
Yeah, pitch recognition, working counts, being patient, driving pitches only you can. And I no
Manufacturing
guy,
runs,
yeah, no guy
stealing
comes to
bases.
mind better than Dalton Varsho this spring. I want to
Yeah,
start with him really quick.
you wanna give your plaudits?
That guy, man, like last year, we knew what we were getting from him as far as his defense and his base running went when the trade was made for Gabby Moreno, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. Hindsight's 2020. Did the trade pay off as much as we thought it would last season? No, because Varsho only hit in the 220s. And the Diamondbacks went on to the World Series and lost to the Rangers. That said, Varsho has done a complete overhaul of his batting stance and his approach at the plate. Chris, he's only struck out 3 times in spring training and he's walked 9. That's complete opposite of what he did last year. Number one. Number two, his batting stance is way more relaxed at the plate. He doesn't have the waggle in his hands anymore. It's just really simple bat on the shoulder. And he's actively searching out pitches that only he can do damage on. He's not going at the high fastballs that we saw that were like,
Oh,
chest high.
that was
His kryptonite. He'd pop those up or he'd chop them down. He's spitting on those in spring training, and then he hit his first home run. What was it,
lefty,
yesterday or
lefty.
the lefty yesterday? And I watched it back, and I was like, the level of like the swing was so smooth, just through the zone. Not a lot of like he wasn't hacking. It was just drive it, and he just fucking barreled this thing, and it went over everything in right field. If he can keep that stroke going into the regular season and for the first 2-3 months,
he
and
knows what his job's going to be.
Yeah, and he's likely. They were saying
he's going to be hitting fifth.
Yep,
he's going to be hitting fifth. Not
that's fine with me.
Up, not second. He's going to be hitting fifth every game, probably.
Yep.
He knows that, which I'm sure is probably good.
Yep. And worst case, they move him around. If it's a lefty on the mound, he goes down to the 6th spot. They bring a righty up to the 5th, whatever.
Yeah, but
dude,
no.
There's no doubt in my mind that he could lead this team in WAR at the end of the season, just based off defense, base running, and overall
his defense it probably, now that Chapman's gone, it leaps ahead and head and shoulders above anyone else on the team.
Well, it's a baffling thing.
Except Kiermaier.
Well, even Kevin Kiermaier and George Springer both said last year, I don't know how the hell he didn't win the Gold Glove in left field over Stephen Kwan.
Yeah.
Like, the guy was insane. I'm pretty sure his D-WAR last year was like 3.9.
Yeah, well, he had like a terrible. I think he had a terrible season at the plate, and I think he had like a top 50 in like American League WAR.
Yeah, so that just shows you how good he is on the other aspects of the game. If his bat can stay consistent, and he'll hit like 255 to 275 with 25 home runs,
30 home runs this year.
I think it's entirely possible. That guy's got power.
He did it
man.
2 years ago.
Yeah,
I think, or close.
It was 27 and 22
in a big pitcher's park in Arizona. I want to see 30. I think he can do it.
I think he can too.
Great. He looks comfortable. I'm sure it wasn't easy last year getting settled and everything.
No,
a lot of it coming to a team, a lot of expectations, and holy shit, you're hitting cleanup opening day last year. That's probably not easy.
No, it's not. So
for a guy who's hitting bottom of the order for most of his career. So that's one story. I mean, a lot of guys. George Springer has been really looking good.
He brought the power back.
Looking athletic. Like, he looks athletic again.
Yeah, and God bless him. Thank God, because his contract, in my opinion, was the biggest question mark. How good is he going to be for the next, I think it's another 2 years after this, or this year and then next year. Yeah, 25, I think, is when his contract's up. No, it might be 26.
Is this year 3 or 4?
We got him in 21. That was the first year, and it was a 5-year contract. So 21, 22, 23, 24. So next year's his last year.
I guess so,
Pretty sure. I'm pretty sure.
No.
Either way, my whole thing is,
you're right.
Is he going to be consistent at the plate? We were worried, is his contract going to look horrid in the last year or 2 years of his contract? Based on his spring stats, I'd say no. He's hammering the ball. Hit a home run off the scoreboard.
Yeah.
435, 440 feet. I was like,
where is that really from? Like, the whole top of the order looks great.
Yeah. I mean, Bo Bichette's going to do his thing regardless of whatever.
And obviously, probably the Jays' biggest question mark, always, Vlad. Their biggest catalyst is looking great, too.
He's batting 450.
Yeah. Crushing balls, cranking balls.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'd say all of those, that's exactly what you want.
Yeah.
And then Ernie Clement.
Yeah, we got to talk about him.
Holy smokes, Jack.
Bro. Dude. Well, thing is that when Bo went down with injury,
big reason as to why Espinal was traded.
I think it was the catalyst for why Espinal was traded, because last year when Bo went down with injury and then DeYoung was just completely not performing, they
Hmm.
brought in Clement and he batted like 380
Yeah,
in, I think it was
he always
19
hit.
games. But yeah, the guy hits, but his defense too is about well above average. His base running, I mean, he's not the fastest, but he can still get around the base pass. So everything about him through spring training and what we saw last year in limited playing time has shown us like, okay, this guy can ball out, man. Like if
Yeah,
he's
like
given the
this
opportunity,
guy
he can
isn't some
play.
scrub that's coming up from the minors and like can barely hit 200. Like this
Yeah.
guy's excelling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's excelling.
I don't know
And
much about him. I like his pull home runs. He
yeah.
pulls homers.
Yeah.
That's all I've really seen him do. Every at bat, he pulls a home run.
Yeah.
Um,
And he hit a couple no doubters in the
yeah, he's
spring
got
where and I was like,
power.
damn.
Yeah,
For a guy his size, he's what, like five?
is
I
he
think
our
he's
starting second baseman?
I think he might be, and it shames me to say because Davis Schneider had arguably the greatest debut 2 weeks of anyone ever in Major League Baseball history, but
Yeah,
he's only batting 188 in the spring with a home run
yeah, and this
and three
guy's
ribbies. This guy's batting what, 360, 361 with 3 home runs and 8 ribbies and a 1,000 plus OPS.
no, yeah. I
He
mean,
is their
that's
starting second
if
baseman.
they're looking at logically in terms of who wins the job, it's him. It's
Yeah.
Clement.
And then
Yeah,
you got Schneider on the bench, I guess, or maybe starting the year in AAA. Who
yeah,
knows?
because well,
I'd rather him play in AAA every day
or
than
is
be on the
Biggio
bench.
starting at second and
No,
IKF is starting at third?
no. I think if I'm John Schneider, I'm platooning IKF and Biggio at third base. I think I'm putting IKF there for his defense and his contact ability in like in the early part of the game. If you need a pinch hitter who to start off an inning, who has a good eye at the plate, and you're down by a run, Kevin Biggio can draw a walk. Like there's a lot of strategy that goes
Yeah, I mean those
into
three
this,
guys could
but
kind of rotate too, or I guess
and I wouldn't mind
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Well, also, IKF is he's basically a like ultimate utility
yeah.
guy. He can play everywhere in the infield. He's an emergency catcher, same as Varsho.
He can play. Yeah, he can play center. He can play.
Center, left, second, short, third, first. Like he can play everywhere.
Hmm.
So as far as the starting third base job
They have got
goes,
so John Schneider must be, my God, going through all these combinations. Holy all these
yeah,
infielders must be just God. He must be so rattled.
he's like, what
Why
do
do
I
I got to
do?
deal with all this, man? Like, just give me
Yeah,
a four guys and two for the bench. Jesus,
I know that's the thing. But yeah, I
he's
think
got to
Ernie
juggle
Clement.
all this.
I think Ernie Clement might be our
He's
starting
going to be on
second
the opening
baseman.
day roster. I think he's done more than enough.
Has to be. Has
Yeah,
to be.
has to.
Unless he goes like 0 for 9 for the rest of the spring. Like even then
Yeah,
I'd be like,
I think he's probably even past that point now.
yeah. Yeah. So I think as far as David Schneider goes, I can imagine him being on the bench to start the year, but that said, I'd rather him getting constant reps in AAA, working his way back. And then if Ernie Clement ends up struggling for like a month or like 2 weeks, and Schneider's not, you bring them up and it's a seesaw. It's going to be one of the guy or the other until one of them proves that, okay, I'm here to stay. And then with like you did with Espinal, maybe Clement becomes a trade piece or Schneider becomes a trade piece to bring in someone worth more to the team's lineup or more to the team's bullpen or so on and so forth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I guess it never hurts to have guys that can play multiple positions, hit well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ernie Clement, gotta give him credit. Came into camp ready to go, and he's probably won a job. To be honest,
Yeah.
I don't think many people were looking at him as a
No.
guy to be on the roster. So
He flew completely under the radar. Like I actually
yeah, because he was with Cleveland before.
Cleveland, I think the Yankees before Cleveland, like I think the Yankees had him, they released him, and then the Cleveland Guardians picked him up and then released him, and then we picked him up off waivers or something. I'm
Yeah,
pretty
no,
sure that's
he
how
was
it went.
good. He was good. Yeah, yeah. I won't lie. I've only ever seen him. I only see him pull home runs every time I watch. He just pulls a home run. I'm like, oh, there's Ernie pulling
Yeah.
a home run again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Also, what a name.
it's great. Just
Ernie
keep doing it.
Ernie
Yeah, Ernie.
Clement.
Ernie.
What a name, man.
think no. My parents were maybe gonna name me Elliot. I thought it might be Ernie, but it's
You were
Elliot.
gonna be Elliot?
Maybe, yeah. There's
Yeah,
another
yeah.
option. It's not a great name.
I was gonna be. I think I might have been Elliot. Would have been in the mix for me too. To be
Oh,
honest with
wow.
you. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, my
I
mom
mean,
settled on
yeah.
Jack.
So, yeah, I mean, those are kind of the big talking points. Did we go over Jansen's injury last time?
I think we did, but we can touch on it again.
It's just, yeah, that Kirk's gonna have to be important, kind of like we talked about with
Well,
the bullpen.
he's been
Yeah,
lighting it
and
up.
again, yeah, we wanted to just mention that he's been looking good, and he's gonna have to be good. And I'm
Yeah.
glad that he's getting a full spring training in because I think he really suffered last year.
Yeah,
When he didn't get
pulling out of the
all of his
WBC
at
from
bats.
Mexico, and then he also showed up with like 2.5 weeks into spring training. Like he never got his legs under him.
Well, I
But
think he didn't even play in the WBC because he had his kid.
that's what I'm saying. Like he pulled out. He was
Yeah,
supposed to
yeah, and
play,
then
and then his
he
wife
ended up.
gave birth. But then who's our third catcher that has been lighting? Is it Scott Servin? No,
Brian
Brian
Serven.
Servin. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, Scott. I got him confused with Scott Service. My bad.
No, no, yeah, yeah. That is
Yeah,
almost similar.
that guy's been
He's been hitting
unbelievable.
well. Yeah, he's been
So until Jano comes back, I can see him being the backup catcher
mhm.
going every 3 or 4 days.
Yeah,
Um,
he's played in the majors before.
yeah, got him off waivers from the Rockies, I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah,
So
he's played up with the Rockies before,
yeah,
so he's
yeah,
more than serviceable.
yeah, and then
He's not the
yeah, and then
co-emergency catcher or anything.
no, and then when Jansen comes back, Servin can go down to the AAA, or even if you want to keep three catchers like they did for a little bit last year with Tyler Heineman, you can do that too.
Yeah, Serven is probably going to be the Heineman
I don't see anyone else really.
or Henry. I think that's the other option.
Henry could be that guy, but from what I saw, his
One of
arm
those two guys.
behind the
It.
plate's not that great, and you kind of want to have a guy that can throw guys out behind the dish. So, I'm curious to see what they're going to do with Servin. I'm curious to see if Clement is going to get the starting second baseman job. I'd be honestly shocked if he didn't at this point. But
Yeah.
hey, stranger things have happened. Also, it's baseball. Anything can happen in this fucking game. So you
No,
never know.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And then
Okay, buddy.
quick shout
Anything else?
out. Quick
Yeah.
shout out.
Yeah.
Arjun Namala,
Yeah.
first ever. Well, he's American, born in California, but his parents are he's first generation American. His parents are born in India. He's the first ever Indian descent drafted MLB player. And today against the Braves in a spring training game, with 2 outs in the top of the 9th inning, their Jays are down by a run. This kid hit his first home run in spring training, and it was a fucking rocket off the bat.
Pretty nails.
Yeah,
pro home run,
dude, and his swing looks
spring
effortless
with the big boys in the dugout.
Yeah, effortless swing. And the crack, the sound of that bat making contact with the ball, that kid, man, if he continues to work his ass off, which I guarantee you he will, he could be a serious problem for other teams in 5 years' time. I'm calling it right now. He will be on the major league roster for either this team, or if they decide to package him for a trade piece, he will be on a major league roster by the time he's 23 years old.
I like it.
Calling it right now.
Jackson Holiday, who?
Yeah, who exactly? Yeah,
our June.
You can't mess with Jackson Holiday, man. That kid's nuts. You know what's even worse is that you and I grew up watching.
Out on that grounder, eh?
So Bo made, yeah, 100%.
Like,
I was genuinely shocked. Even Bo was like,
close. It is great effort, but he was out.
Yeah, he was out for 100%.
Jackson Holiday beat this out. He's like, did he? I don't think he did.
But there's no replay.
But it was good effort.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Orioles scare me, but I'm gonna trip them all year.
Yeah, I mean, dude, like
you can scare me, but you can't stop me.
Exactly. They're the Astros of the 2020s. I'm just saying that. Team that was dog shit for years, got all the number 1 draft picks or like top 10.
Let's hold up now. They gotta win something first.
I'm just saying they got the draft. They had the draft capital and they've drafted very, very well.
They're setting up like the Astros did. Yes.
Yeah. Bregman, Correa, Springer, Altuve.
Yeah, because they're just so bad.
Kyle Tucker.
Yeah.
I mean, then they traded. I still cannot believe that they pulled that trade off with Los Angeles. Yordan Alvarez for Josh Fields. Like,
I know. Whoever
I
made
don't
that trade on the Astros side is
a
gotta
genius.
feel like an absolute beauty every day of his life,
100%. Yeah.
walking
So,
around. Like, yeah, I know things that people don't.
yeah, exactly. So, wrap things up
Yeah,
real
Jays
quick.
are looking. I don't know. Like I've
The-
liked what I've seen.
I
I
like what
can't
I've
be
seen a lot.
upset. I
Yeah.
can't be upset. They're looking good at the dish. They're looking like a team that can score runs.
Hmm.
They're crushing the ball, I would say, honestly, a lot.
Which is
A lot of
exactly
the
what was
times that
missing
I've seen
last
them.
season. I
Yeah.
what is it that people come in like like we're baseball fans, so we can appreciate every aspect of the game. But what is it that people who are casual fans tune in to see? Home runs. What is it? The
Offense.
Jays exactly
Yeah.
offense, home runs, doubles, extra base hits.
No,
What
a
is
lot of
it?
the time last year wasn't that exciting to watch.
No. Well, that we went over this. Like this is exactly why we kind of just stopped talking about it because it was the same thing day in and day out. So
Yeah.
hopefully this year it's a different story. We get to see a lot more home runs, a lot more runs driven in, more exciting ball games. Here's hoping. The
Yeah.
Jays look solid. Pitching's a bit of a concern right now, but hey, we're still 8 days away from opening day. Anything can happen.
Yeah, just gotta get
Hopefully,
healthy.
exactly, just got to get healthy. Hopefully, Kevin Gosman is ready to go by the end of or the start of the second series.
Yeah.
That's my hope.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if he misses more than one start, I'll get a little worried.
Yeah.
Because you need
Anyway,
him. You need him
you need him. He's your ace. He's the guy in your starting rotation.
for sure.
Anyway, Chris, I think we've covered all we need to cover, my guy. I think
Yeah,
that's
dude.
it, man.
That
Yeah.
was great.
Yeah, good episode. Got everything out the way. Hopefully Joey Votto can come back
Yeah,
and
dude.
be Joey Votto. But yeah,
Yeah, no, I'm
that's my
excited.
wish. That's my
I
wish.
am. I think it's an exciting thing. I mean, I think, low expectation. Everyone just have reasonable expectations for the guy. He's 40.
Yeah,
Every year
exactly.
you come out there, you just think
Yeah.
he's 40. It's pretty impressive he's out
Just
there.
be
And then
happy with the mystique that is Joey Votto.
hey, he'll bring a lot to those
Mhm.
guys. The
Yeah.
stories, the advice.
Yeah.
I saw maybe we'll end on this. I saw like I don't know who it was, if it was Blair, Barker, or whatnot, and Blair and Barker, but they were like, it seems to me that he was brought in because it's some sort of indictment on the leadership of this team and that they need more like grown-ups in the room. And I think they said that and they were saying like they don't need that. The Jays don't need that.
Okay.
And while I agree that the Jays probably don't need that with where they're at right now, they have a lot of vets that have been with the team for a while.
Yeah.
I do think that like it can't hurt having a guy that's been, such a, seasoned vet now at this point. He's probably
Yeah.
seen every situation in the game. Um, Especially for a team that floundered so heavily last year in very simple situational things.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying they need Joey Votto in there to round them into shape and to whip them into shape. I don't think that's the thing, but like if you ask me if this team is like perfect in terms of mentality and everything, I'd say no.
Well, what
So
team is though?
yeah, exactly. So I just don't think you can ever have too many of these guys,
Hell no.
leaders, voices.
The guy is a
Like
first ballot
I
Hall
think
of Famer.
Blair was getting pretty fired up, like, like these guys aren't young anymore, like do that. But I'm like, I get that, I do, but like it's not a bad thing.
If Bo Bichette, Jeff Blair and Barker, Blair, I love you, but if Bo Bichette and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. aren't young anymore, you're like 80.
Well, I get what he's saying. It's like, they do have voices now. They are the faces. They aren't
They've always
babies.
been the
Like,
faces, but they like
yeah, but
I
I
get
feel
where
like
he's coming
for a couple of
from.
years there, we kind of gave them the kid treatment. Like,
Yeah. Well, they've even said
they're
like
so young.
veterans on the team who are 35, 36 years, like Chris Bassett and like
Yeah.
Justin Turner, like, hey, Bo Bichette's like the leader of that clubhouse. He's the
Mhm.
guy who talks and everyone listens. Guy's 25 years old.
Yeah.
He's doing what he needs to do, but having, like you said, having an older veteran presence, you can't have enough of that. That's what makes great teams, in my opinion. Like, if you look at a lot of World Series winning teams over the past 10, 15 years, what have a lot of them had? Veterans who have been either brought in at the deadline or guys who have signed a contract with the team who are there to help the younger guys along. Like, perfect example of this that I always will remember is when Christopher Morel I think it was last year, the year before or it was the year before, it was 2022. It was Wilson Contreras' last year as a Cub, and Christopher Morel's at the dish with a chance to walk it off, right?
Mm-hmm.
Christopher Morel gets in the box. He looks jittery. Contreras goes, Chris. And he goes, he's like, just breathe, right? And then Morel does that. What does he do? It's a walk-off home run. So having that guy in the clubhouse who is older, has the experience and the knowledge and the wisdom, you can't have enough of that. I don't care if Bo's the voice of the room. It's a great guy to have to be the voice of the room, but there's always someone who knows more than you. That's life.
Yeah, and yeah, it's not even saying that like, Votto has to be that at all. It's just I think
Oh.
good to have if it's better to have it than not.
Mm-hmm. 100%, man.
Yeah.
So Jays are looking good at the dish.
Yeah.
Votto's a Blue Jay, which I never thought I'd say those words in a million fucking years.
Yeah, I hope we see it. I hope we see him at the Rogers Center. It'd be cool.
I'd love to see it. Hopefully he makes the team. If not, I hope he stays around and plays in AAA and then hopes he works his way back up. Anyway, Chris, it's been a good pod, good episode. Always a pleasure talking to you, man.
Absolutely, buddy.
We'll get it going again probably sometime similar to next week when we're getting closer. We're inching closer and closer to opening day.
Yeah, and but this time next week, opening day will be like a couple days away. I think like 1 day away.
Yeah, it's next Thursday. Next Thursday's opening day at 1:07 p.m. against the
Rays.
It is against the Rays. Yeah,
is it 1 or 4? I think it's 4.
Might be 4. Either way,
Anyways.
it's a weekday. We'll find out.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, take it easy. I've been Jack Ryan. That's Chris May. Whatever way I'm pointing, he's somewhere around. All right, folks. Have a good one. Take it easy.